In the words of Pierre Seal, a survivor, "They made us suffer hell." These words echo the unspeakable experiences of a group of victims from a dark chapter in human history, whose stories have often been left untold. We are delving into the persecution of homosexuals during the Holocaust, a narrative that remains largely unseen. The Holocaust, a genocide that took the lives of 6 million Jews during World War II, is well known. Yet what often goes unmentioned is the persecution of other groups deemed undesirable by the Nazi regime. Among them were the homosexuals, primarily men, who were marked, hunted and brutally oppressed. Pierre Seal's story offers a chilling glimpse into this hidden narrative. Pierre, a Frenchman, was just 17 years old when he was arrested for being homosexual. He was sent to the Schirmeck-Vorburg concentration camp, where he endured unimaginable horrors. His story, though painful, provides invaluable insight into the plight of homosexuals during the Holocaust. The Nazi regime, in its quest for racial and social purity, targeted homosexuals as part of their cleansing. They were deemed a threat to the Aryan race, viewed as defectors of societal norms. Homosexuals were arrested, tortured and sent to concentration camps where they were subjected to forced labor, brutal medical experiments and often death. In the concentration camps, they were marked with pink triangles, a symbol that would later become a potent emblem of gay rights. But back then, it was a mark of shame, a target for harsher treatment and discrimination. Pierre Seal, like many other homosexual men, was forced to endure this brutal treatment. The scars of his experiences remained with him long after the war, a constant reminder of the torment he and many others like him had to endure. In recounting these stories, we confront a part of history that has been obscured for far too long. The persecution of homosexuals during the Holocaust is a tale of unspeakable cruelty, but it is also a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. It is the stories like Pierre's that embody the hidden horrors of the Holocaust. Historian Klaus Müller stated, "The pink triangle was a badge of shame during the Holocaust. A poignant symbol of a dark chapter in human history, the pink triangle was more than just a piece of cloth. It was a target, a brand, a scarlet letter of sorts, marking those who wore it for persecution and isolation." Let's delve into the significance of the pink triangle and how it was used during the Holocaust. In the concentration camps of Nazi Germany, prisoners were made to wear various colored triangles, each color signifying a different group. The pink triangle was specifically designated for homosexuals, a group deemed by the Nazis as socially undesirable. This was not a mark of honor, but a badge of shame, a tacit announcement to all. This person is different. This person is not like us. This person is less than us. The pink triangle marked its wearers for harsh treatment and severe punishment. Homosexuals were singled out, not just by the Nazis, but by their fellow prisoners as well. They were often given the most dangerous tasks, the harshest conditions and the cruelest punishments. The pink triangle became a symbol of their pain, their suffering, and their struggle for survival. But the pink triangle was not just a symbol of oppression, it was also a tool of isolation. By marking homosexuals with the pink triangle, the Nazis effectively cut them off from the rest of the prisoner population. This isolation was both physical and psychological, adding another layer of torment to their already unbearable conditions. Yet, despite the horror it represented, the pink triangle also served as a symbol of resistance and resilience. It was a sign of the wearer's refusal to deny who they were, even in the face of unimaginable cruelty. The pink triangle, a symbol of persecution, became a symbol of defiance. Today, the pink triangle has been reclaimed by the LGBTQ+ community as a symbol of pride and a reminder of the past. It stands as a testament to the strength and resilience of those who wore it, a beacon of hope for those who continue to fight for equality and acceptance. It is a symbol of a history that must never be forgotten. Historian Erik Jensen once said, "Their voices were silenced, their stories untold." This quote echoes the reality of countless homosexual victims of the Holocaust, whose agonies and struggles often go unrecognized in the larger narrative of the horrific event. The silence that surrounds their experiences is as profound as it is disheartening. For many years, the stories of these individuals were pushed under the rug, lost in the shadows of the larger narrative. They were deemed too controversial, too taboo to be shared or acknowledged, but their stories, like all stories of human suffering and resilience, deserve to be heard. Take the case of Friedrich Paul von Grossheim, for example. As a teenager, he was arrested and sent to a concentration camp for his homosexuality. He survived, but his story, like so many others, was shrouded in silence. It was only much later in his life that he found the courage to speak about his experiences. Friedrich Paul's story is a stark reminder of the inhumanity that was inflicted upon these victims. And there was Pierre Sale, a Frenchman who was also persecuted because of his sexual orientation. He was tortured and forced to watch his partner's execution. His story, too, remained untold for decades. It wasn't until the early 1990s that he decided to break his silence and share his harrowing experiences with the world. These are but a few examples of the countless untold stories of homosexuals during the Holocaust. Stories of individuals who, like any other victims, suffered immensely under the brutal Nazi regime. Yet their experiences have often been minimized, ignored, or forgotten altogether. We must strive to remember these stories not just because they are a part of our history, but because they are a part of our humanity. We owe it to these individuals to recognize their suffering, to acknowledge their stories, and to ensure that their experiences are not lost in the annals of history. The untold stories of these victims echo through history, demanding to be heard. Let's lend our ears, our hearts, and our minds to these voices, and in doing so, honor their memories. As historian Gerard Koskovich puts it, their suffering didn't end with the liberation. This poignant statement echoes the harsh reality faced by homosexuals in the aftermath of the Holocaust. Despite the end of the war, the persecution and discrimination against the gay community persisted. In Germany, the infamous paragraph 175 of the German Penal Code, which criminalized homosexuality, remained in effect. Even after the devastating events of the Holocaust, this law was not repealed but was, in fact, harshened by the Allies in 1945. Thousands of gay men found themselves trapped in a society that continued to criminalize their existence. Many were rearrested and sent back to prison, based on the same evidence that had condemned them during the Nazi regime. Outside of the legal implications, the social challenges were equally daunting. Homosexuals faced ostracism and prejudice in a society struggling to rebuild itself. There was no widespread recognition or understanding of their suffering. The narrative of the Holocaust was often told from a singular perspective, leaving the gay community and their hardships in the shadows. Moreover, the lack of resources and support systems further exacerbated their plight. Psychologists and psychiatrists of the time often pathologized homosexuality, treating it as a mental illness rather than a legitimate identity. This lack of understanding and acceptance made the process of healing and recovery incredibly challenging for those who had survived the atrocities of the war. Even as society progressed and attitudes shifted, the battle for acceptance and equality was a long and arduous journey. It wasn't until the late 1960s that the gay rights movement began to gain momentum. Decades of fighting led to the eventual decriminalization of homosexuality and the slow dismantling of systemic homophobia. Yet the scars of the past remain, a stark reminder of a time when love was a crime and existence was a defiance. The struggle for acceptance and freedom continued long after the horrors of the Holocaust ended. Survivor Gad Beck said, "We must remember to ensure it never happens again, and remember we must." The persecution of homosexuals during the Holocaust is a heartbreaking chapter in our history, often overlooked and forgotten. It is a testament to the depths of human cruelty, but also to the resilience of the human spirit. Historians, activists, and survivors have tirelessly worked to shed light on this dark period. They've combed through archives, pieced together fragments of stories, and given voice to the voiceless. Their efforts remind us that history is not just about dates and events, but about people, their lives, their struggles, their triumphs. One such historian, Klaus Müller, has devoted his life to uncovering these forgotten narratives. He reminds us that history is not always written by the victors, but sometimes by those who refuse to be forgotten. His work has revealed the untold stories of homosexual men and women who were persecuted but never defeated. Activists, too, have played an essential role in this process. They have fought for recognition, for justice, and for the honoring of these victims in our collective memory. Organizations like the Magnus Hirschfeld National Foundation have worked to ensure that these stories are not only remembered, but that they serve as a stark reminder of the atrocities that can occur when hatred and bigotry are allowed to flourish. And let's not forget the survivors. Their courage in sharing their experiences has been instrumental in our understanding of this period. Their stories serve as poignant reminders of the strength of the human spirit in the face of unimaginable adversity.